Welcome, engineers. My name is Travis IQ, and today we're talking the JBS Foods cybersecurity incident. Developing story, but we've got what you need to know. Let's go. So I said JBS Foods cybersecurity incident intentionally, and the reason for that is they haven't actually come out and said that it was a ransomware attack just yet. However, there is some conflicting reports from US government officials, and the nature of the attack that really indicates to us that it's ransomware, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt considering they haven't come out and said anything yet. Let's talk about what this affects and who these guys are. So JBS Foods is the largest meat producer globally. They operate in Australia, Canada, the United States. They're based out of Brazil, so they're a giant multinational corporation that produces meat specifically, and they actually are responsible for producing about a quarter of the meat in the entirety of the United States, which is pretty intense. And when you consider that this incident has actually caused the shutdown of all of their facilities in the United States as of right now, June 2nd, then you might be a little bit concerned considering, this is a really large producer, and also the fact that the nature of the shutdown, right, that they've shut down all the facilities, including sending home, 25,000 workers nationally in the United States. And this has also affected facilities in Australia and Canada. It's definitely an indicator that it is a, huge cybersecurity incident and very likely a ransomware incident. The other thing that I haven't mentioned that I often talk about on this channel, because I'm kind of interested in it personally, and because it's kind of the space that I came from, is operational technology. So whether it's affected industrial control systems, and operational technologies. Now, you wouldn't necessarily think of like a meat packing company as an infrastructure company, but they really do. They have a lot of industrial infrastructure. And so when we think of maybe electrical or water or fuel, like we were talking about in one of the previous news articles, it may not necessarily be as industrial and industrial control system intense as maybe some of those, and not quite as much infrastructure. But in terms of supply chain, and let's say the food supply chain, which is a pretty important infrastructure both domestically in the United States where I am and abroad everywhere else, then I think that it actually is considered probably an infrastructure attack, and in the case of the United States, for example, like a matter of national security or something like this, right? To understand what's affecting our supply chain from a food perspective, from a fuel perspective, and these types of things. So I think that you're going to see, in light of the next couple of events or the last couple of events, you're going to see a little bit more reaction from a governmental perspective in terms of how we start dealing with these things. So we don't know whether it is a ransomware attack or not, but what we do know is Wired reported that a US government official aboard Air Force One identified it as quote unquote ransomware. And so I'm going to, from now on, say that it was a ransomware attack or refer to it that way until told otherwise, because it really has all the classic signs of ransomware, right? Entire facility shut down, lack of productivity, and then, a giant footprint in terms of the cybersecurity incident that it is. That being said, we're only a couple of days into this incident. We don't know who the cybersecurity team responding to it is. We know that they've hired an outside incident response team, an IR response team. We don't know the nature of the incident. There have been reports from Wired and Bleeping Computer and from Fox Business that are from a few different sources. These are some of my sources and I'll list those sources in the link in the description below, that it was allegedly a Russian hacking group. But again, we'll know more as these things come out. This is just a quick update on another big infrastructure and cybersecurity incident. That being said, we are probably going to update this with some information about who was responding to it from an incident response perspective, what the nature of the ransomware was, if they identified a specific Russian hacking group that procured this attack. But as of now, we don't know those things. So it's just an interesting update. More infrastructure being attacked on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and a really important aspect of cybersecurity to be, very aware of. That being said, as is always the case, engineer, break stuff, have fun. We'll see you next time.